streaming and on-demand viewing means there's a lot of potential for data collection about who's watching your programming, who's watching the stuff you put on. How valuable is that data? What can you do with it for advertising?
It's not just about advertising. I think it's not just about advertising. I think advertising is potentially a byproduct and a benefit. The collection of usage data and consumption data is really important so that you can provide in a transparent way, in a passive way, what's next. And if somebody likes one thing, do they like another thing? And how you move people through your environment, how you can create relationship with them, that's what's really important. And as the recommendation engine gets better, and you can constantly improve that so that you can provide consumers with more and more content that they're going to love and they're going to engage with, right? And you'll know times of day, you'll know when they watch, you'll know all these things that allow you to provide great content. And because of that relationship, you're a conduit to brands in a way that you haven't been before. And you can do, again, you can be, you're brand safe, you're in an environment, you can be targeted, you can be addressable, you can be third-party verified. It's a really great environment that you should be able to expand and grow as long as you respect that consumer experience and don't do what we all did in linear television and just take advantage of that experience or that consumer by constantly adding more and more and more. We have to respect them.
This is an area where I would, just to add on, I think the advertising industry needs to move with a much greater sense of urgency. We've been hearing a lot about data. We've had a data strategy at Turner now for 4 years at least. But time is not the friend of anybody. And when we're competing against platforms that are non-ad supported, and we know it's not just about premium content, it's also about what is the consumer experience. We have to drive the value of the advertising that is done in the midst of all of our content video. And the industry is still, in my opinion, too slow, too fragmented, and we need to move with a greater sense of urgency. Otherwise, by the time the industry moves to addressability, full addressability, which, by the way, we've had products, addressable products available now in the marketplace for 4 years. 5% of our business is addressable. It's selling audiences. But we need to move to where we're network agnostic, day part agnostic, demographic agnostic, and age agnostic. I just turned 50.
Happy birthday.
Congratulations, yeah. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you. Not today, but thank you anyway.
Belated wishes.
So kind.
Yeah.
But the idea that if we're selling to an advertiser a demographic of 18 to 49,
right.
And I've just fallen out of that. So if I'm a Nielsen rated home and I'm watching a show and we're not getting paid, like the last time I checked, I've got a little bit more disposable income today than I had yesterday.
But who's at fault there?
It's just the legacy of the industry.
Right.
We've got to move more quickly to embrace that the way we can monetize audiences has to be much more contemporary and progressive than the old way and the constant way of doing it.
So is there a problem with the structure of the ad companies or the way they're set up?
I think it's a lot of it's the fragmentation of the industry. Look, we're making great strides at Turner. We've got lead edge products. We, along with actually with Fox, started OpenAP. Which is an open standards platform to try to help make it easier for people to identify audience demographics and genres. And we have to keep at it. But my fear, and what makes me wake up in the sweats, is like when the industry finally figures out how to get to full addressability, everybody's going to be watching video on Hulu and Netflix. That would be bad.
That's great for you, yeah.
It's good. We're a 10% owner of Hulu, so we're okay. We're hedged.
Yeah. I think this adds to this is we can innovate. We can do a lot of different things. There's only so much you can do with ad products in a linear world. Right? As we move to IP delivered, whether it's Hulu or others in this process, there's a ton of things we can do. And I think the relationship has to get back to where brands are looking to sell their products. Brands are looking to establish themselves. They're looking to create awareness. They have to get in business with some folks, whether it's Hulu or Turner or Fox or ABC or NBC for that matter, or quite honestly for Facebook and the rest of them. They also have to leave behind some of the measurement and some of the legacy issues that they have at the agency level that prevent them from being able to move forward. And it's also, brands have to stop saying what they want and then doing the exact opposite. Right? I want addressability, I want targetability, I want value, I want effectiveness, I want efficiency. Oh, and by the way, can you lower my CPM by 10%? Because that's really what the agency's going to get bonused on and everybody else. That stuff has to stop if you really want to move this industry forward. And you want to avoid a situation where 5 years from now, content is not available for brands to connect with communities, because it is all people have opted out, because they will have the opportunity to opt out.
So, a bit of a note of caution there for both of you. I'm sensing generally you're both quite optimistic about
Oh, yeah.
TV.
No, I mean, look, I'm incredibly optimistic. I mean, there's more video consumption today than ever before. As you said, the millennial audiences and the younger audiences are consuming more video and doing more things than ever before. And connected devices have never been more affordable and more available, and there's never been more connectivity. This is all a positive thing. It presents headwinds and challenges and means that we're going to need to change the way we do business. But if you're well-branded, large scale, willing to innovate, willing to move and be nimble, willing to launch new products, I think there's going to be a really, really bright future, because for people who, I mean, Hulu is a great example. It's not like you can say there's not a lot of TV available without Hulu. Yet you now have 17 million households that are paying you, or subscribers rather, that are paying you extra out-of-pocket money because your service is worth it.
Right.
So if you provide a premium service to people that like it, they're going to pay for it.
I think one of the key elements going forward, and there's no question this is a transition, it's been coming for a while, cord cutting, all of those things that you talked about, shaving, pay TV, traditional, linear, OTT, even the OTT space, I kind of get worked up sometimes. I don't even, what is OTT? Right? When cable came in, did we say that was like under? Because where did we go? Ultimately, everybody's trying to get to the consumer. Everybody's trying to get to the consumer. What this is really about is getting to the consumer in a way where you can create a relationship. And what's really important to that, and I think the winners in this race will be companies who develop a trust with their consumers, so they can innovate together, they can manage through a transition, they can manage through a cost process. And if you have the trust if your brand has the trust of the consumer, I think you can really start to create great experiences for them in a way that you haven't been able to in the past. And one of the challenges, live TV is hard. For a lot of reasons. There's a lot of infrastructure, there's a lot of things that go into it. When you really create an environment, now you're talking about billing systems, and going to direct-to-consumer is hard. There's a complete cultural shift from being a wholesaler to a direct-to-consumer company. And as we evolve through that process, it's really going to be important that we gain the trust. And we don't have the luxury. I mean, technology companies around the world, they'll launch a minimal viable product, they'll iterate on it 2.0, 7.0, 8.0, it'll get better, it'll get better, it'll get better. The expectation, you may dislike your pay TV company, DirecTV, Comcast, Charter, and others, but when you turn the TV on, it's going to work. And you're not going to get buffering, you're not going to get kicked out, you're not going to get any of that. So the bar is incredibly high right from the start. And I think the ability to constantly work to gain those consumers' trust is going to that's what will ultimately, I think, be a big part in determining who's successful in the end.
Good positive note to end on. Gentlemen, we're out of time, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matthew.
I wanted to thank you.